Okay, hey Taurus, my name is Chris. This is your yearly 2026 reading and I'm super excited. I'm going to see what comes up. I'm just shuffling the cards, by the way. That's the clarifier deck and that's the big deck, of course. So, 2026 is going to be a fantastic year. That's just how it is, because everything that goes down goes up again. You know, it's like a wave, right? And the last 7 years was definitely the part of the wave, you know, that goes down before it goes up again, right? And now this time, this old paradigm basically, where the frequencies were pretty tough, right? If you're a decent human being, if you're an empath, an empathic being, you might not really resonate with this channel if you're not. So if you're a narcissist, you maybe had a ball for the last 7 years, but you're not a narcissist, you're an empath, so you learned something to get into this position, right? You became, through the last 7 years, and this is that big, right? Because it just is, right? It is. 2026 will be the first years, and I'm going to link a super video about technological, not just spiritual changes in consciousness. We can't really talk about this only in the frame of tarot card readings, for example, right? But there are technological advances with AI, so the frequency will be completely different, right? And that's good news for good people. So that's the Hierophant, center of your reading. Just think about the last 7 years and tell me they were fantastic. 4 of Pentacles, you held on, or still holding on to something of the old circle, or I shouldn't say of the old circle, something that kind of brought you there, right? But you outgrew it, right? That's a fantastic combination with the 4 of Pentacles, right? Where you're holding on, you're keeping your distance, right? You're protecting yourself. You basically cover the basics, so to speak, and you're holding on very tightly because maybe the last 7 years were not ideal to thrive and to, you know, find these other 3 pentacles, right? Because that's the chakra system, right? In the 4 of Pentacles. 4 of Pentacles, 7 chakras, so 3 chakras are missing. That's the third eye connection, right? The throat chakra, speaking your truth, right? And the sacral chakra, which is pretty much stability, right? Also financial, job stability, security, things like that. So there were a few things missing throughout the last few years, maybe, just maybe, right? Maybe you didn't feel very secure. Maybe you had no chance to really tell your story, right? The reason for evil in this world, by the way, is because people are not able to tell their story. So maybe you couldn't speak, and maybe there was a blocked connection or disturbed connection, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe you've been through narcissistic abuse. That's definitely not exactly cleaning and healing the third eye chakra, right? Which is connection with hopefully healthy connection. So I think there was a disturbance here as well. So you held on to the basics, right? And you protected that. But out of that time, you kind of grew into something way bigger, right? That the 4 of Pentacles guy, he's wearing a crown, right? He's kind of almost sitting on a throne as well, but he's not the King of Pentacles. He's not seen the 10 of Pentacles yet, not even the 7 of Pentacles, right? He's the 4 of Pentacles guy. So he had a great achievement, right? But he totally outgrew it. And he's emerging as the Hierophant, but standing on top of what you built before. Wheel of Fortune energies, that's the 2026 reading, by the way. So I guess like you're just stepping into the role that is meant for you. That's 2026. That's as big as it is. So you're taking what you built for yourself, and on top of that, you're creating something much bigger. And the crown is the strength card. That's a reminder whenever we're becoming light workers, right? And the Hierophant is the ultimate light worker, together with the Hermit, by the way. The Hermit is carrying the light in the dark times, right? And then he emerges basically in bright daylight as the Hierophant, which is actually the magician and the high priestess rolled into one. That's really interesting if you dive deep into this. So, strengths card on top. So try not to fight the old paradigm. Try not to fight the old system. The old system will subside, right? So the old system will just pretty much collapse on its own because it's became so dysfunctional that it's actually negating itself, right? Just by functioning, it is actually negating itself. Many people did not understand that yet. But so what you have to understand in 2026 and what you have to practice, right, in 2026 is do not fight the old. Do not fight the old. And if you speak your truth, which is part of what you're going to learn in 2026, right? Speaking your truth, true connection, healthy boundaries, but true connection, third eye chakra, speaking your truth, right? Could also be a leadership role, could be some counseling, something like that, right? But you're speaking your truth and you're helping other people by explaining stuff or speaking your truth, right? That's the throat chakra. And then there's the solar plexus, which is stability, you know? And you might already have the basis for it, right? And then you're emerging as the Hierophant. How do you do this? And by the way, it's destiny calling, right? It's just your destiny to do that. That's you're meant to do this. And this is going to happen in 2026. How is it going to happen? Again, strengths card. This lady is not fighting the lion. Why? Because she would lose if she would fight a lion. If a lady would fight a lion, the lady loses. That's just how it is. But what the lady can do is instead she can tame the lion. Then she wins. And that's the only way she can win, right? And that's the, sorry, that's the approach for 2026, right? You're not fighting the old system. You're creating, you're building the new system. You're waking up to this, right? You're waking up to your role and you're waking up to, there's the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands shows, there's a particular constellation. I'm not surprised she's here. So there's fire aspects, right? And you're totally not fighting them, right? You're not fighting fire with fire. Means that you're not taking the bait of the narcissist. You're not getting easily provoked, or you're not running amok with some BS story of guilt, fear, shame. Usually these things are spoon-fed to us. These are kind of elementary aspects of the old system. Suppression through guilt, fear, shame, right? So this is going to subside. Why? Because people are waking up, knowing that it's all about frequency and you can raise your frequency actively. That's what you're going to master in 2026. And, that's a big step. And you're working with fire, not negating fire. Fire is not bad. Fire is wonderful. Fire is beautiful. But fire, you can burn in fire, right? You can burn your fingers. And if you let fire do whatever fire wants, it burns the house down, right? So careful with fire. Fire aspect symbolized as the lion here. What is the fire aspect, by the way? A fire aspect is sexuality. Fire aspect is passion, rage. You can basically say the 7 mortal sins, more or less. Everything that is over the top, charged with emotion, charged with energy, highly moralistic. That's fire aspect, right? If you judge the shit out of people and you're constantly trying to, tell people what to do, that's very low in frequency. That's kind of the old system. And the old system wants to continue itself, so they need you to participate in their bullshit. You're not doing that. Why? Because you're ruling your fire aspect, right? The way they get you is by lower frequencies, guilt, fear, shame, of course, but also sexuality, passion. And I'm not preaching anything against sexuality, but it's an easy way for human beings to be manipulated, right? Through guilt, fear, shame, or through passion itself, right? And the Queen of Wands is ruling this passion, right? She's mastering this passion, and she finds a way to use this energy, which could be sexual energy, right? Instead of just throwing it around, so to speak, or just wasting it, you can actually work with it, and you can, focus your attention and therefore your energy on something creative, like what it is that you want to do. Maybe you become a counselor. Maybe you are already a counselor. Maybe you're some sort of therapist, or, I don't know, helping people, telling them, explaining something, teaching something. That's the role here that you going to create out of what you've already built for yourself, right? So either on top of that or in addition to that. So it's not negating what you already have. And then you're making it real. Then you're channeling all this energy that was otherwise wasted. In the old paradigm, you would have just, rolled into the dirt with the pigs, right? And took the bait of the narcissist, and just, if someone gives you, I don't know, something that angers you, you would just go down in anger and argue with them back and forth, right? And waste hours of your life and quantums of energy of your frequency, do not engage in what you want out of your life, right? Do not fight the old system. Do not argue. Do not explain yourself. Just create what you want to create, right? Let's just take this one. There is an invitation from the universe. There is an invitation, and some things need to go. There is the outside position, there's the Tower, which is not necessarily a bad card, but I guess you have to clear the air in some outside position. How do I say this? With other people, with how you engage with the world. You can totally do it. Page of, and there's the 6 of Cups, and I'm super happy that it's the end, the outcome of your reading, 6 of Cups. I wouldn't worry about the Tower. 4 of Cups at the bottom of the deck, King of Pentacles underneath that. So maybe you are really becoming, but that's kind of far-fetched, but if you successfully combine these two aspects, that's practicality, maybe what pays the bills, right? Could be a stable job, something like that. And combine that with this counseling, wisdom, true speaking aspect, right? Teacher, spiritual teacher, combined with very practical, down to earth, Pentacles energy. Money related, that's for sure. Very practical, If you can combine that, fuel it with your passion, with your energy, right? Don't be easily played. Don't allow anybody to lower your frequency by guilt, fear, shame. Don't allow anybody to exploit your sexuality or your sexual energy, right? Just like that. And use that, all of that discipline, self-discipline, mastership, spiritual mastership, through meditation, through long walks, through, sports, basically, and getting into your body, into your physical body, but also mental discipline like breath work, for example. That's all part of it, you know, to cultivate that leadership, Hierophant mindset, combine that with this practicality that pays the bills, and it's going to be super successful. That's the Queen of Wands, right? Channeling that energy, making it practical, right? Not negating anything. These are they're not contradictions, right? This is the spiritual leader, spirituality, which is pretty much the opposite of down-to-earth practicality, Four of Pentacles energy. But if you combine these two, then you're kind of solving the paradox and fuel that with, you know, fire energy, and you got a reason to celebrate with other people. Yeah, it's your destiny to become that, to take on that role, right? There's the Wheel of Fortune again with the Hierophant. Then we got, the Seven of Pentacles with the Four of Pentacles. So that might be related to the outside position in the Tower. Not everybody is cheering you on, right? Not everybody is happy. There might be people surrounding you who are not necessarily supportive, right? That's just a side aspect, nothing major, but there is a connection here with the Tower. So maybe you have to let a few people go, right? While you welcome new people into your life, and let those people go who are no longer really playing on your team, right? Or maybe have never played on your team, something like that. Tower in the outside world, Seven of Swords connection. Someone needs to go, right? The toxic people should leave your life. You should no longer entertain. That is also part of the wisdom of the Hierophant. That's kind of part of what it means to wake up. You're no longer entertaining bullshit people, and no longer entertaining their BS stories, right? Which are, I say it again, usually narrative stories of guilt, fear, shame, misuse of sexual energy, I should say. And I'm not having anything against it, but, you know, just being wise, respecting yourself. Self-love, the channel's name, by the way, is Philautia. So loving yourself, respecting yourself in that regard means to just, how do I say this? Be wise, like the Hierophant, about who you allow that close in your energy field, should I say, right? It's a very practical, it's not like moralistic or anything, right? Go have fun, by the way, absolutely. But be smart about who you let into, see it like that, into your energetic field. How many people would you actually let close to you like that, right? Pick your fruits wisely, okay? Pick your people like you pick your fruit. That's the only advice here, and somebody needs to be kicked out of your life. That's just how it is. That's how I see it. And there's some toxicity here, and this person, this energy could also be an energy internally, in the sense that you kind of self-sabotaging or something like that, but it is related to the outside position here. So I guess somebody needs a kick in the rear end, right? There's the Queen of Wands clarified by the Empress, and the Four of Wands is clarified by okay, you could meet someone. As I said, be wise about who you let into your life. Certainly be wise about who you let into your bed, and just be wise about it. Pick your people like you pick your fruit. And that's the Ace of Pentacles with the Four of Wands. So there you might meet someone with, there might be maybe a business opportunity or something related to it. Yeah, what needs to go is, there's the Tower clarified by the Eight of Swords. The Tower kind of represented as the Eight of Swords almost, which is limiting beliefs, right? Can I do this, you know? And Seven of Pentacles, we can turn this around, whether it's another person, right, who is talking you down, or whether it is yourself talking you down, you know, or buying into the stories, the disempowering stories of other people. You know, people can't just download anything, right, into your system, not yet, at least, so I hope. But you have to give permission, basically. You have to agree to that. You know, if someone tells you a disempowering story, like, oh, who do you think you are? Are you sure you can do this? This is great. But you really? Do you think you can do it? Right? Things like that. And if you then doubt yourself and think, oh, maybe, can I do it? Is that, you know, then you're buying into the story and you're participating in your own lowering in frequency, right? And either it is someone else, usually it's both, right? Someone else who's triggering you in a way that you buy into that story, or maybe you are telling the story yourself and someone is just amplifying it back to you. Something like that. There's an unhealthy connection here. Either self-deprecating, maybe self-deprecating humor, maybe, you know, self-doubt, or, you know, it's connected to the foundation here. So whatever you build for yourself, protect that and believe in it, and don't just throw it away, right? There is an overthinking energy. Seven of Swords, Eight of Swords, now there's the Nine of Swords. Yeah, but these are just shadow aspects, clarifier aspects, right? There's the Four of Swords with the, you know, remembering joy, and this is how you use your swords in 2026 and in general. Remembering joy, right? Allowing joy into your life. I think that's the big key here. Not taking the bait, not taking your own bait, you know, disempowering stories, things like that. Oh, that's a good combination here as well. The Four of Cups and the Two of Cups, bottom of the deck, clarifier deck, and the normal deck. Let's just finish this here. So 2026, super successful year, great, wonderful. You're stepping into your role, you know, that is kind of meant for you, and it's much more spiritual, and you're going to speak your truth, you know, not holding back. Truth, by the way, needs to be spoken with love. Even if it's a hard truth, that might be a challenge in 2026, or something that you might transcend and integrate and totally learn, right? Keep it in mind, right? If you're speaking the truth, try to speak it at least with compassion, right? And compassion is kind of love, right? So even the people, and that's the Two of Cups. That's how I see the Two of Cups, by the way. You know, these are polar opposites meeting and kind of respecting each other, meeting themselves on eye level, even if, you know, kind of dove and serpent energy, right? And they're meeting themselves on the same level, but they're definitely different, playing on a different team, so to speak, but it's the same sport, so to speak, right? But, you know, that's what I talked about, solving paradoxes, which is totally his thing to do, right? That's a hard nut to crack, or whatever. You know, taming the lion. You know, if the lion comes along and you behave like prey, the lion will hunt you and kill you. But if the lion comes along and you do not behave like prey, you're not buying into this story that is advertised to you, so to speak, you can actually tame the lion, right? And totally flip the script. So if you on the other side want to fight the lion, right, then the lion also wins. So the lion wins if you run away, and the lion wins if you fight him. Because the lion is the lion. It takes you apart, right? But if you do not buy into the lion script, so to speak. The lion script is, okay, I'm the predator, this is my victim, and the victim either runs or it tries to fight me and I win. That's the lion script, right? And if you buy into it and either run or try to fight it, you're going to lose. So, make peace with the world that is full of fire people and lions, right? Who try, narcissists, toxic people who try to tell you, oh, who do you think you are? Guilt, fear, shame, and it's all about that. And shouldn't you be ashamed about this and afraid about that? You know, these people are there. If you buy into their script and say, oh yeah, now that you say it, I should really be ashamed and I should really be afraid. You know, what you're talking about it, you know, then you're buying into the script. Right, and you're amplifying it, and you gave your permission because you just bought into that behavior and acted accordingly. So you must understand that these people are there. You're not going to change them. You're not going to fight them. You're not going to run them out or run away from them. They're just there. You won't find a place where they're not, right? They're pretty much everywhere. And they follow you too. So it's you know, you see the narcissist in many faces, so to speak, or the narcissist is going to meet you in different, there's a type of personality, toxic personality. You meet these people or these kinds of people wherever you go. So you can't outrun them and you can't fight them because they want you to fight them, because by fighting them, you're giving them energy. And there are just too many of them. They know how to do that. Dirty fights, that's their thing, right? But you're not doing that. You're not buying into the script that is presented to you, right? You're taming it, and you're taming it mainly by doing and concentrating on your own stuff, what you want to create, what makes sense for you, what is true to you, what, you know, is truthful and real, and, you know, that is what is important, not the story that other people try to sell you on. So focusing on that, and by doing that, by being present within yourself and just being so in a good way, full of yourself, that you have so much own story and narrative and frequency and radiation of energy going that you're not even tempted to buy into the energy fields or narratives or stories of other people. That's the Hierophant, that's mastership, that's strength. That is counterintuitive because we are super trained trigger reaction, like, right? If somebody provokes us, we get angry. If somebody tells us sob stories and, oh, should you be worried about that and guilt for shame, buying into that. Yeah, we're trained to do that. And if we realize, oh, there are people who do that on purpose with us, right? That makes us angry again. That's also a reaction, an emotional reaction. You know, then we suddenly become the lion or think, you know, it's the antagonist is pretty tricky, right? The most important thing is to protect your inner peace. And you're totally doing that. Protect your inner peace. And then you find joy in what it is that you're doing. And then just do that. Fuel what you love with energy. And keep doing it. And that's the outcome here with the Six of Cups and the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is the meditative mind, is the mindful mind, right? Is the focused, I'm wondering that the Queen of Swords is nowhere around, focused attention, and deliberate attention. You know, you pick and choose the focus of your mind because you can, right? And you're not allowing other people to draw your focus around, and by drawing your focus around, they can basically steer where your energy is flowing, and they can use, negative, disempowering stories, things like that. If you don't control your focus, others will. That's the mastership of the Hierophant, right? To be able to do that and to really implement that practically. And how do you practically implement that? There's one quote: "It is better to be alone than to be in bad company," right? And I see you, you want to open up to the world, you want to meet new people. So keep in mind, it is better to be alone than to be in bad company. If you go and meet people with this frequency of "I need you, I need someone," you're probably attracting narcissistic people. If you go, on the other hand, as the Hierophant, to a place to meet people where you just say, "Okay, I'm here and I'm resting within myself," right? And I'm just open for possibilities to meet other people and things like that. But if it's not happening, that's okay, right? I don't need that, in the sense that, I can just try again somewhere else, someplace else. But if you go with that energy, you're not going to attract. You actually, narcissists are actually appalled by you if you radiate that frequency. Whereas if you radiate a frequency of "I'm in need, I need someone, please like me," then you're attracting narcissists left and right. So when in doubt, it is better to be alone than to be in bad company. But on the other hand, you are ready to meet new people and you want to meet new people, which is totally fine. Just don't be desperately wanting to meet people. That will be exploited, right? Don't be too nice. People will use you. There we go. Second quote that kind of fits the narrative. I think quote of insanity. That is not what I had in mind. All the elements for your happiness are already here. There's no need to run, strive, search, or struggle. Just be small incremental steps, right? Looks pretty good, actually. One oracle. Pendragon sword. That's Hierophant energy, I tell you. That's balanced power, I think. Wait a minute. Yeah, balanced power. The consecrated sword represents balanced power and wisdom, qualities bestowed only to those who have earned them. Power, wisdom, balance. This consecrated sword represents balance, power, and wisdom, qualities bestowed only to those who have earned them. This is a coming of age for you. Much can be accomplished now with relative ease, provided you remain balanced and grounded. You are bestowed the power of the dragon, ruler, king, and magician. This great honor and privilege is also great responsibility. You can hold this power indefinitely, for as long as you honor, respect, and use it wisely. Balanced power, right? That's pretty much the Hierophant energy. Pendragon sword. With power comes a lot of responsibility, right? To yourself, kicking out toxic people out of your life. Don't even let them in, but also not attracting them, in the sense that you kind of buy into their stories and tell them yourself, right? If you go into the world with them, then you're kind of co-creating or attracting these people. This time, you're not going to do this, not in 2026. It's just a reminder. And with the tower here, we talked about this, right? Kicking someone out, not buying into negative stories, not fighting the lions, things like that, right? Repeat that passage if you are really into it. And let me know what you think about it. Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, that's turtle spirit. That's pretty much what I said. You're building on something that you already have. And do not doubt that which you have built, right? Keep what you have built. And on top of that, you're making it something else, right? This is what I talked about with the 7 chakra system and the 4 of Pentacles. There comes security in 2026 by implementing your wisdom, your counseling skills, your teacher skills, your wisdom basically into what it is that you're doing practically, breaking it down to the real world. Queen of Wands, fire energy, also into the real world, making it real, but inspired by Hierophant energy, wisdom, you know, and strengths, you know. God, yeah. Slow and steady wins the race. I think that's enough. And I hope it does resonate with you. Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And hopefully see you next time. Ciao.